Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to talk about how screens affect children. I'm Rita and today it's all about you. Nowadays screens are everywhere. On the streets, in the malls, in the car, in our pocket, in our hands. They are used to communicate, to have fun, to learn, but with such an easy access of screens everywhere, how they are affecting our children. Until 1 year old, the World Health Organization advises that there's no contact with any kind of screens whatsoever. By screens, I meant TVs, tablets, phones, anything that has a screen on it. Baby cognitive development are mainly by example and with human contact. So if they are too distracted with screens, all of this development can be delayed. And most because it takes attention span, lowers learning concentration and focus. Screen also had bad influence in the sleeping pattern, much less engagement on the personal tasks, less body language, sounds, human touch, less movement, less physical activity and apathy. With toddlers or around 2 years old, 1.5 or 2 years old, in this group, children can use screens maximum 1 hour per day. During the day, there must be included some physical activities, no screen at all before sleep time, even naps. Screens should not be able to be used during eating moments, and this applies to whole family. And parents should be the ones that has the first word to say, and they should be the role model for their kids. During the allowed time of screen time, parents has to choose very well the content of the things that the kids are seeing in the screens. They have to choose the best content in order to help develop their kids' language. Playing active games or interactive apps, it's another suggestion, and it's something that the kid can easily do, always with the supervision of an adult. It really has to be strict because screens can interfere with creativity and with social skills in such a small kid. With school age, children sometimes really need to use a little bit more screens, particularly because sometimes schools ask them to deal with screens in order to do some kind of work for school or to make some kind of research. With this age, screens can increase the learning process opportunities and even can help with social interactions, particularly in the beginning, talking about movies or apps or some interactive games or something that they are reading on their screens, and any other things that they are seeing, and can be a motive to start a conversation with any other person or any other children. On the other hand, in this age, it's important that they don't spend all their time with screens, because there's other activities that are still important for them. With less screen times, children can search for other activities that always involve different types of creativity. With less screens, they have much time to interact with other friends and with other children and with the whole family too. As a role model, parents have to teach the value of using some devices like computers, tablets, and even phones, and particularly develop the use of internet not just for fun or mainly for not just for entertainment, but for learning and for research and for be curious about many other things. It is important too that parents be aware not just the dangers of a child use the internet by themselves. It's important that parents can see if the child is mature enough to understand the difference between the reality and what he is seeing on internet or in screens in general. For instance, what I mean is the difference between the reality and what the children can get on a game or on an app or on a movie or on a video. It's important that parents can really explain and parents can be on top of this issue, which is really, really important for the child development. If you did a good job during childhood, when your teenager is using a device, he should be able to understand at the same time the dangerous and the importance of the tools that he has to use all these devices and the internet in particular. He should understand all the new activities that he can use from the internet, and he can understand that this can be fun, this can be learning process, and this can be a way of contact and talk with other people in so many levels and in so many aspects. Understand that nowadays there's lots of new activities and even professions that uses almost exclusively internet is something that it's very important. And there's a big growth between social connections, informations, services and entertainment that we can reach in a very easy way. In teens is much more important the quality time that they spend with their screens than really the quantity time that they have it. Remember that your teen live in a totally different times that you used to live, and that he has different skills, probably almost easy ways of dealing with all these devices, much more accurate than you ever thought. For you parents, it's important that you understand that you have to behave as a role model for your children. So everything that you can create as a rule for your child, understand that it has to begin in you. Be very attentive to unhealthy behaviors from your child. After the time that the child can eventually start to use screens, try to increase them little by little. Don't just let the kids just use it as long as they want to. Just understand that you have to impose some rules even when the kid is really small. When you have more than one kid in a household, sometimes it's a little bit different to create this kind of rules, but you can always make the rules and apply to everybody. So understand that you can make your own rules in a way that everybody can feel comfortable with it, and at the same time you can always ask for the oldest, if it's appropriate, the oldest kid help you with this issue and with their siblings. Every time that your kid, particularly toddler, watch something in a device or use something in a device, be present. Don't let him do it by himself, or at least watch him do it in a way that you can control any kind of thing that can happen, any kind of strange ads, any kind of strange publicity, anything that you don't want him to contact with. It's important that we all have something not against screens, but understand that yes, screens are something to amuse us, but at the same time is something that we can learn with. Nowadays we have such a big ways and such a big amount of screens everywhere that can lead us to a much more easier ways of get information of any kind, and this is something that it never happened before. So try to embrace this as a positive thing, and try to embrace that this is new times, and this is something that probably it's not going to stop in a couple of years. This is something that just are here, and it's important that we are just learning how to use it in a proper way. So it's not okay when your kid wet himself or just forget to use the toilet, forget to eat, and do the basic things when he is using screens. Not knowing the difference or not noticed the difference between reality and what he is watching on the screens is another thing that is a red flag, and it's another thing that tells you that your kids should stop immediately using screens. Not using internet filters, not really know how to use the knowledge that internet can give you, or the skills. It's another thing that is not positive in a kid using screens. Not having social life and preferring being at home with screens and not socialize with other children is another thing that you have to be concerned with. Living in a constant make-believe or signs of depression, anxiety, paranoia symptoms are things that you have to be aware with your child. Have no other interests, have constantly headaches, not be able to follow rules, to not do tasks or activities, not being responsible for them. It's something that you have to be aware with your child. And if your kid cannot even make decisions, or if he's too inactive, has no physical exercising at all during the day or during his week, is a symptom that something is not okay. So for your child development, it is important that he knows how to deal, he knows how to use screens, but it's important that he will not make screens as an excuse for not doing anything else. So I hope you like it. I hope you subscribe the channel. I hope you leave a thumbs up, share with a friend, and I'll see you next time. Bye!